There are motorcycles that are so dangerous, they are outright deadly. Designed with brutal power and zero forgiveness for mistakes, they turned riders into crash statistics faster than any others in history. In this video, we reveal the 15 most dangerous bikes ever built, and why some were brutally ending drivers' lives from the very first ride. We're starting off with number 15, the 1973 Kawasaki H1 Mach 3. This is the motorcycle equivalent of a smiling sociopath who volunteers at charity events while secretly planning mass destruction. This bike has the personality of a beautiful serial killer who sends you love letters written in blood while sharpening knives in the basement. The H1 is charming, seductive, and absolutely committed to your demise. The kind of machine that whispers sweet promises while plotting your funeral arrangements. This 499cc air-cooled two-stroke triple delivered 60 horsepower through a package that weighed 386 pounds dry, but the power delivery had the personality of a landmine with abandonment issues. The H1 doesn't just accelerate, it detonates, launching riders into the stratosphere with the enthusiasm of someone who genuinely enjoys watching people question their life choices and mortality rates. The H1's murderous character is built around Kawasaki's philosophy of maximum lethality with minimum warning. The two-stroke triple engine doesn't purr. It snarls like a rabid wolverine that's been fed nothing but methamphetamine and violent intentions. The power hits like a freight train driven by someone who failed both anger management and basic human empathy. The H1 would be perfect for riders who think Russian roulette is too predictable and believe that every ride should include at least 5 near-death experiences and a philosophical discussion with the Grim Reaper. You think that level of homicidal intent is terrifying? Wait for number 14, a machine built by engineers who apparently confused safety with how to build a street-legal assassination device. The 1985 Honda ATC 250R has the personality of a psychotic clown who specializes in making children cry and adults question their will to live. This isn't just a three-wheeler, it's a stability-challenged murder machine that someone convinced to wear a license plate while it plots the systematic destruction of human confidence in basic physics. This 246cc liquid-cooled two-stroke single delivered 40 horsepower through a package that weighed 348 pounds dry, but handled like a shopping cart filled with angry hornets and existential dread. The ATC 250R has the personality of someone who looks at concepts like predictable handling and rider survival and says, "Those sound boring. Let's try something more exciting, like controlled genocide." The ATC 250R's character is built around the revolutionary concept that motorcycles have too many wheels and that human survival is overrated. The two-stroke engine has the personality of a caffeinated psychopath with a PhD in applied chaos theory. Unpredictable, violent, and absolutely committed to making every ride feel like a hostage situation. This machine would be perfect for riders who think traditional motorcycles are too predictable and believe that every ride should include multiple ambulance calls and at least one conversation with emergency room staff about organ donation. If that three-wheeled terrorist impressed you, prepare for number 13, a bike so murderous it made other homicidal machines apply for witness protection and consider therapy. The 1999 Yamaha YZFR1 has the personality of a professional hitman who moonlights as a torture specialist. This bike combined surgical precision with sadistic efficiency, proving that the most dangerous killers are often the ones that look perfectly civilized until they decide to demonstrate their true expertise in human termination. This 998cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline 4 delivered 150 horsepower at 10,000 RPM through a package that weighed just 414 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of weaponized lightning with anger management issues. The R1 has the personality of someone who reads anatomy textbooks for fun and could probably kill you with a throttle twist while explaining the exact sequence of organ failures you're about to experience. The R1's is built around Yamaha's philosophy that power-to-weight ratios aren't suggestions, they're death sentences waiting to be executed. The inline 4 engine has the personality of a Zen master who achieved enlightenment through the study of controlled explosions and the art of making grown men write their last wills and testaments. It knows exactly how how it's going to kill you, when it's going to happen, and why you're definitely not ready for what's about to occur. This bike would be perfect for riders who think life insurance policies are investment opportunities and believe that every ride should include at least one moment where you see your entire life flash before your eyes in high-definition slow motion. Shocked by that level of calculated murder? We're just getting warmed up. Number 12 just kicked down the door to show you what happens when engineers lose their minds and build a street-legal weapon of mass destruction. The 2007 Ducati 1098 has the personality of a beautiful succubus who specializes in seducing men to their deaths through the medium of pure, unfiltered speed addiction. This bike doesn't just perform, it seduces you with Italian beauty, charms you with mechanical sophistication, and then systematically destroys your soul through the application of lethal acceleration. This 1099cc liquid-cooled DOHCL twin delivered 160 horsepower at 9,750 RPM through a package that weighed 381 pounds dry. But the real danger was in its seductive personality that made death feel like a romantic adventure. The 1098 has the personality of someone who looks like they should be on magazine covers, but specializes in making physics professors weep and insurance adjusters drink heavily. The chassis construction reflects the 1098's seductive yet lethal personality. Exotic materials bonded together using techniques that were years ahead of their time and several degrees more dangerous than anything sane people would attempt. The bike approaches every straight like a siren approaching a sailor, with beauty, grace, and the absolute certainty that you're about to become another casualty statistic. This bike would be perfect for riders who believe that death should be a beautiful experience and understand that the best way to die is while doing something that makes other people question their commitment to continued existence. If that Italian seductress terrified you, hold on for number 11, which is what happens when Japanese engineers decide that reasonable homicide rates are for people who lack proper engineering vision. The 2008 Kawasaki ZX14 has the personality of a quantum physicist who got tired of theoretical work and decided to build a practical demonstration of what happens when you weaponize the fundamental forces of the universe. This bike doesn't just go fast, it tears holes in the fabric of space-time while laughing maniacally at your feeble attempts to maintain control. This 1352cc liquid-cooled DOHC Inline 4 delivered 190 horsepower through a package that weighed 485 pounds dry. But the real terror was in its ability to make grown men question the fundamental nature of reality while traveling at velocities that make light speed look pedestrian. The ZX14 has the personality of someone who looks at the laws of physics and says, "Those are adorable suggestions for people who lack imagination and proper death wishes." The aerodynamics were developed by people who understood that air resistance is just another obstacle to be conquered through superior technology and complete disregard for human survival rates. The ZX14 could hit 186 miles per hour while making it feel like a leisurely death march, proving that perspective is everything when you're traveling at velocities that make time dilation a practical concern and organ donation a statistical certainty. This bike would be perfect for riders who think the sound barrier is more of a suggestion than a law and believe that every highway should come with its own trauma center and grief counseling services. If that quantum-level lethality shocked you, get ready for number 10. A bike so dangerous it came with its own body count and a personal relationship with the Grim Reaper. The 1985 Suzuki RG500 Gamma has the personality of a two-stroke banshee that feeds on human terror and grows stronger with every scream of anguish. This bike doesn't just run, it shrieks, it wails, it makes sounds that would make demons file noise complaints and angels reach for their emergency whiskey. This 498cc liquid-cooled two-stroke Square 4 delivered 95 horsepower at 9,500 RPM through a package that weighed just 309 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of concentrated evil with a mechanical engineering degree. The RG500's murderous character is built around Suzuki's philosophy that Grand Prix technology should be available to anyone brave enough to handle it and stupid enough to sign their own death warrant. The Square 4 two-stroke engine has the personality of 4 angry demons that learn to work together for the common goal of achieving maximum chaos and minimum rider survival rates. The power delivery was designed by people who believed that predictability was overrated and that every throttle input should be a surprise party, where the surprise is whether you'll accelerate smoothly or launch into low Earth orbit while questioning your life choices. This bike would be perfect for riders who miss when motorcycles require blood sacrifices to start properly, who understand that the best engines are the ones that sound like they're perpetually plotting your demise in the most beautiful way possible. If that two-stroke terrorist made your heart race with pure terror, get ready for number 9. A bike that doesn't just break speed records, it breaks the riders who dare to challenge its authority. The 2006 MV Augusta F41000 has the personality of a Renaissance assassin who creates art through the medium of beautiful violence and isn't afraid to express their emotions through the systematic destruction of human confidence. This bike doesn't just perform, it creates masterpieces of terror. It inspires nightmares. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the relationship between beauty and death. This 998cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 174 horsepower at 12,300 RPM through a 565 transmission that weighed 423 pounds dry, but the real danger was in its ability to make death feel like a religious experience. The F4000 has the personality of someone who creates masterpieces for the sake of perfection, while specializing in making grown men weep tears of joy and terror simultaneously. The F41000's lethal character is built around pure Italian artistry, wrapped in carbon fiber and seasoned with enough psychotic intent to make it legendary among trauma surgeons. The inline-4 engine has the personality of a master craftsman who takes pride in every component while maintaining the soul of a caged tiger that's been fed nothing but high-octane fuel and homicidal intentions. This bike would be perfect for riders who understand that motorcycles are supposed to be emotional experiences that actively threaten your mortality, who appreciate that the best art is often created by people who refuse to accept human survival as a limiting factor. If that Italian artistry of death terrified you, brace yourself for number 8, a bike so dangerous it makes other homicidal machines look like children's toys with delusions of grandeur. The 2004 Yamaha YZFR1 has the personality of a samurai executioner who studied under the greatest masters of death, achieved perfect balance between aggression and precision, and then decided that modern warfare needed more style and significantly more casualties. This bike doesn't just fight, it dominates with the grace of a master swordsman and the efficiency of a plague. This 998cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 172 horsepower at 12,500 RPM through a 500 that weighed 410 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of weaponized perfection with a personal vendetta against human survival. The R1 has the personality of someone who has mastered every aspect of combat so completely that your death becomes effortless, natural, and absolutely inevitable. The chassis embodies the R1's warrior philosophy of beautiful death. Every dimension calculated through extensive computer modeling and real-world testing. Every component optimized not just for performance, but for the kind of harmony that only comes from years of studying the ancient art of making grown men write farewell letters to their families. The R1 could hit 186 miles per hour while maintaining the composure of a Zen master and the killing efficiency of a honey badger with a PhD in applied violence. This bike would be perfect for experienced riders who understand that the best weapons are the ones that require years of training to survive, who appreciate that true power comes from the perfect balance between control and systematic human elimination. If that samurai precision of death shocked you, prepare for number 7, a bike that doesn't just challenge death, it sends death a formal invitation to a duel and then cheats by bringing superior firepower. The 1992 Honda CBR 900RR Fireblade has the personality of a revolutionary terrorist who looked at the established order of motorcycle safety and said, "This is adorable, but what if we completely ignored everything everyone thinks they know about human survival and built something that makes the impossible look like child's play?" This bike didn't just change the game, it burned down the stadium, executed the referees, and built a new coliseum on the ashes for gladiatorial combat. This 893cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 124 horsepower at 10,500 RPM through a 500 that weighed just 407 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of concentrated lightning with a personal grudge against rider survival rates. The Fireblade has the personality of someone who makes revolution look effortless while secretly working harder than everyone else to maintain impossibly high standards of controlled chaos and systematic terror. The Fireblade's homicidal character is built around Honda's obsessive attention to detail and complete refusal to accept that lightweight and lethal had to be mutually exclusive concepts. The inline-4 engine has the personality of a master craftsman who takes pride in every component while maintaining the soul of a berserker warrior who's been fed nothing but high-octane fuel and homicidal fantasies. This bike would be perfect for riders who refuse to accept that you have to choose between nimble handling and devastating lethality, who understand that the best revolutions are the ones that make everyone else realize they've been thinking too small about the fundamental nature of mechanical homicide. If that revolutionary terrorism terrified you, you better be prepared, because number 6 is what happens when engineers decide that reasonable casualty rates are for people who lack vision and proper insurance coverage. The 2009 BMW S1000RR has the personality of a German engineer who got tired of being stereotyped as boring and decided to build something that would make other motorcycles file restraining orders and consider witness protection programs. This bike combines Teutonic precision with barely contained psychotic intent, proving that the most dangerous predators are often the ones that look perfectly civilized until they decide to demonstrate their expertise in human termination. This 999 CECEC liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 193 horsepower at 13,000 RPM through a package that weighed 455 pounds dry. But the real terror was in its systematic approach to rider elimination. The S1000RR has the personality of someone who reads technical manuals for fun, gets genuinely excited about thermodynamics, and could probably calculate the exact trajectory needed to launch you into orbit while explaining the physics of your impending doom. The S1000RR's murderous character is built around BMW's philosophy that electronic aids aren't cheating. They're force multipliers that allow mere mortals to access performance levels that were previously reserved for professional racers and people with active death wishes. The inline-4 engine has the personality of a university professor who moonlights as a demolition expert, intellectually superior, methodically precise, and absolutely committed to showing you what happens when German engineering meets unlimited budgets and minimal concern for human welfare. This bike would be perfect for riders who want cutting-edge technology to help them explore the outer limits of human mortality, who understand that the best safety equipment is the kind that lets you die faster, not slower. If that German precision of death made you nervous, prepare yourself for number 5, a bike so dangerous it makes insurance companies spontaneously combust just from reading the specifications, and coroners prepare for overtime. The 2018 Kawasaki H2R has the personality of a mad scientist who looked at the concept of street legal and said, "That sounds like someone else's problem," before building something that makes jet engines feel inadequate about their commitment to human destruction. This isn't just a motorcycle, it's a physics experiment that someone taught to hate speed limits and love the taste of human terror. This 998cc supercharged liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 310 horsepower through a package that weighed 476 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of weaponized insanity with a PhD in applied chaos theory. The H2R has the personality of someone who looks at the laws of physics and says, "Those are adorable suggestions for people who lack proper engineering degrees and access to superchargers designed by demons. The aerodynamics were developed by people who understood that at 249 miles per hour, air becomes less of a fluid and more of a solid wall that needs to be conquered through superior technology and complete disregard for reasonable human mortality rates. The H2R approaches every straight like a missile approaching its target, with single-minded determination and the absolute certainty that physics is just another obstacle to be overcome through superior violence and unlimited disregard for human welfare. This bike would be perfect for riders who think the sound barrier is more of a suggestion than a law, and believe that every track day should include at least one moment where you question the fundamental nature of space, time, and your continued existence in this dimension. If that supercharged insanity shocked you, brace yourself for number 4, a bike so dangerous it makes other homicidal machines apply for witness protection and consider career changes in safer industries like bomb disposal. The 2020 Ducati Panigale 54R has the personality of an Italian opera singer who also happens to be a trained assassin with a PhD in applied physics and a personal vendetta against the concept of human survival rates. This bike doesn't just perform, it transcends, reaching levels of mechanical enlightenment that make other motorcycles feel like they're still studying basic techniques for human elimination. This 998 CEC liquid-cooled DOHC-V4 delivered 221 horsepower at 15,250 RPM through a package that weighed 386 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of concentrated death with artistic pretensions. The Paneigal F4R has the personality of someone who creates art for the sake of perfection, while specializing in making grown men question their commitment to continued existence. The chassis construction reflects the Paneigal's artistic yet murderous personality, exotic materials bonded together using techniques that were years ahead of their time and several degrees more dangerous than anything sane people would attempt without proper life insurance and organ donor cards. The bike approaches every corner like Michelangelo approaching a block of marble, with vision, passion, and the absolute certainty that something beautiful and terrifying is about to emerge from the wreckage of human confidence. This bike would be perfect for riders who believe that motorcycles should be emotional experiences that actively threaten your continued existence, who understand that the best art is often created by people who refuse to accept mortality as a limiting factor in their creative process. If that Italian artistry of terror terrified you, prepare for number 3, a bike that doesn't just break the rules, it burns them down, executes the rule makers, and builds new ones from the ashes of human ambition. The 2021 Aprilia RSV4 1100 factory has the personality of a Renaissance master who got tired of painting pretty pictures and decided to build something that would make other motorcycles question their life choices and consider early retirement. This bike combines artistic sophistication with lethal efficiency, proving that the most dangerous predators are often the ones that look like works of art while specializing in human termination. This 1077cc liquid-cooled DOHC-V4 delivered 217 horsepower at 13,000 RPM through a package that weighed 403 pounds dry. But the real danger was in its ability to make death feel like a religious experience conducted by a master artist. The RSV4 1100 factory has the personality of someone who reads poetry, appreciates fine wine, and could probably kill you with a throttle twist while explaining the philosophical implications of velocity and the artistic beauty of human mortality. The RSV4's murderous character is built around Aprilia's philosophy that racing technology should be available to anyone brave enough to handle it and wealthy enough to afford the inevitable medical bills and funeral expenses. The V4 engine has the personality of a master craftsman who takes pride in every component while maintaining the soul of a caged tiger that's been fed nothing but high-octane fuel and homicidal poetry. The electronic systems were developed by people who understood that the best way to make dangerous bikes accessible wasn't to make them less dangerous. It was to give riders the tools they needed to survive just long enough to appreciate the artistry of their impending doom. The RSV4 could hit 186 miles per hour while monitoring more parameters than a space shuttle and making calculations that would make quantum computers feel inadequate about their processing power and commitment to human destruction. This bike would be perfect for riders who want cutting-edge technology to help them explore the outer limits of what's physically possible while maintaining artistic integrity in their approach to systematic self-destruction. If that technological terror makes your heart race, hold onto your helmet, because number 2 is what happens when engineers decide that impossible is just another word for challenge accepted. The 2022 Kawasaki Ninja H2 has the personality of a quantum physicist who got tired of theoretical work and decided to build a practical demonstration of what happens when you combine supercharging with complete disregard for reasonable human mortality rates. This bike doesn't just go fast, it redefines the relationship between rider and reality while laughing maniacally at your feeble attempts to maintain both control and consciousness. This 998cc supercharged liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 delivered 228 horsepower through a package that weighed 525 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of weaponized physics with a personal vendetta against human survival instincts. The Ninja H2 has the personality of someone who looks at the laws of physics and says those are adorable guidelines for people who lack imagination and proper supercharging technology designed by fallen angels. The Ninja H2's serial killer character is built around Kawasaki's philosophy that if you're not occasionally questioning the fundamental nature of space, time, and your continued existence in this dimension, you're not riding hard enough to justify the engineering investment. The supercharged engine has the personality of a controlled nuclear reaction that someone taught to love motorcycles and hate speed limits with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. This bike would be perfect for riders who think the sound barrier is more of a suggestion than a law and believe that every ride should include at least one moment where you question whether you're still operating within the same dimension you started in or have accidentally crossed into a parallel universe where human survival is optional. And finally, we have reached the apex of mechanical homicide. Our number 1, the bike that doesn't just threaten your life, it makes you grateful for the privilege of risking it while simultaneously plotting your beautiful destruction. The 2023 Ducati Panigale 504 SP2 has the personality of a truth-telling demon who refuses to lie, compromise, or make excuses about the fundamental nature of what motorcycles were always meant to become: beautiful instruments of human termination. This bike is raw, honest, and absolutely uncompromising in ways that make other dangerous motorcycles look like training wheels with delusions of grandeur and safety concerns. This 1,103cc liquid-cooled DOHC V4 delivered 215 horsepower at 13,000 RPM through a Dia that weighed just 381 pounds dry, creating a power-to-weight ratio that had the personality of concentrated evil with artistic pretensions and a master's degree in applied human destruction. The Paneigal 504 SP2 has the personality of someone who tells you exactly what you need to hear about the nature of speed, danger, and mortality, whether you want to hear it or not, because truth is more important than your continued existence. This bike didn't just raise the bar for dangerous motorcycles, it launched the bar into orbit, executed it for being too conservative, and then built a new bar in hell just to prove it could be done. The SP2 was raw, honest, and absolutely uncompromising in ways that modern safety regulations have tried to legislate out of existence, delivering race bike performance with just enough electronic assistance to keep you alive long enough to appreciate the artistry of your impending doom. The SP2 would be perfect for experienced riders who miss when motorcycles were genuinely homicidal, exciting, and required actual skill to survive. It's the bike equivalent of a manual transmission sports car in a world of automatic everything, becoming rarer but infinitely more rewarding for those who understand what they're missing and brave enough to risk everything to experience the beautiful terror of mechanical perfection with homicidal intent. Every throttle throttle input is a conversation with destiny. Every corner is a negotiation with physics, and every straight is a philosophical discussion about the nature of mortality conducted at velocities that make light speed look like a leisurely stroll through a peaceful meadow. The Panigale 5.4 SP2 doesn't just transport you, it elevates you, transforms you, and occasionally threatens to launch you into the next dimension while making you grateful for the privilege of experiencing mechanical perfection with homicidal tendencies. The Panigale 5.4 SP2 would be perfect for riders who understand that some experiences are worth dying for, who appreciate that the best machines are the ones that make you question everything you thought you knew about courage, skill, and the fundamental nature of what it means to be truly alive. This isn't just a motorcycle, it's a gateway to mechanical enlightenment, a teacher that instructs through terror, a beautiful demon that shows you what motorcycles were always meant to become when freed from the constraints of reasonable safety concerns and basic human survival instincts. Thanks for watching. Want to see more? Click on your screen.